We are live once again. Welcome, Web 3.0 community. Today, we're going to be bringing some great content again. We're going to be bringing some content regarding the Web 3.0 creators economy and how it is improved by Web 3.0 companies. Today, joining us, we have Gigi, who is a dear friend and also a CEO and co-founder of ANTHILL. ANTHILL is a Web 3.0 company that is trying to solve different problems for anybody that is a creator today in the Web 2.0 space. If you are creating music, if you are creating other kinds of content, and if you are looking for different ways or distributing it in different Web 2.0 ways, probably you have some problems and some issues. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be looking at these problems and how a Web 3.0 ecosystem can, and more precisely, how ANTHILL can solve some of these issues. I'm going to give the ball right to you, Gigi, and maybe you can just introduce yourself very briefly and say, basically, tell us what are these problems that you are trying to solve with ANTHILL.
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm Gigi Piscitelli, CEO and co-founder at ANTHILL. I've been a musician since I can remember. So I started playing guitar when I was 4 years old, and I've been going through that path of wanting to be an artist, successful artist, and tour stadiums. And somehow I managed to do it as a session musician. But then, as everybody knows, with the digital, how do you say, digital changes through the music scene, we've seen basically this shared economy popping up, and unfortunately, a lot of corporations taking advantage of it. And what that meant for artists is that they started to get less and less paid. And specifically with music now, it's kind of everybody thinks music is free because you have Spotify that you pay 10 a month. And I don't know how many people buy any more records because for them, they just download it or listen it through these kind of services. Now, the big problem is, unfortunately, artists are not getting paid enough, or they're not getting paid for the time they input towards making the music. So I just started thinking we need to do something. But back then, 15 years ago, there was not really anything we could do because blockchain wasn't really uh, at the point where it is now. And also, blockchain was considered mainly cryptocurrency. So people getting financial benefits, which is great. But now, thankfully, with Web3 technology, we have been able to create a completely new and innovative token economy. So we are able to give artists 100% from their artwork, but also through smart contract, we are able now to completely eliminate legal fees, and you don't have a lawyer. Actually, you could have a lawyer, obviously, for more complicated contracts, but in our platform, we want to eliminate this problem where people have to pay a lawyer to get contracts signed, but also most creators, if you are creative, you know, they do kind of work on verbal agreements. So by using smart contract implemented into the uh, collaboration system, you are sure that any single collaboration is sealed by a smart contract that will give you, I'd say, guarantees that you're going to get paid and that you're going to get paid the right amount.
That's pretty amazing. Meaning that you are using NFTs and smart contract to create a legal agreement between different musicians in a band. A legal contract that can be anything from how the revenue will be split from songs to anything that can be defined digitally. That is revolutionary. That is really amazing. But another thing that came out from what you were just saying is that you've seen this problem 15 years ago and
I
started
think there's
thinking
always
about
been.
this 15 years ago.
I think this problem always exists because I mean, music is one of those things that you don't do for the money, at least at the very beginning. You do it because you love it. So as long as someone gives you the opportunity to play, then you do it. You happily do it. And most people, I mean, most clubs back in the days, they would actually ask you to pay them to play in their venues because it would give you visibility. And I'm like, if you ask to a bartender, if there is no customer, I'm not going to pay you. You wouldn't have bartenders. Like every job is paid because of your time. You're using time, you're spending time, and your time has a value. Unfortunately, that is not what happens within the music industry specifically, even though we're not focusing just on the music industry, but the musicians are possibly the most impacted by this. I think it's more like a mindset that people think, oh, you play an instrument, what's your actual job? Actually, I am a musician, I'm making music.
So how does it work right now for a musician? What are the problems that a musician has when they want to start a band? I think we've mentioned those with the NFTs, and then how much is it that they pay, and who is it that they pay, and what kind of fees are we talking about that make it so that there is a need for a completely alternative solution?
Well, let's start to put into context the current situation. 83% of UK artists and 75% of US artists make less than £10,000 or $10,000 a year from their art. That means basically that 86% of
So
musicians,
it's a hobby, basically. It's
yes,
mostly for all of these people. It has to be a hobby, otherwise it won't be a sustainable way of receiving income.
yes, they have to have a second job to pay for the bills. And that's already, what does this mean is that obviously if you have a second job, you have to put less time into your art, therefore your growth is much lower, and therefore also the quality of your work possibly is much lower than it could be if you would focus 100% of your time and effort into music. But how do you do now? Well, at the moment what you do is you write a song at your own expense normally, and then either you collaborate with people, but the collaboration are usually between friends and verbal. I mean, I'm not talking about the rich and famous. I'm talking about someone that is starting in the music career. So what you do, you ask a friend to play I don't know. Okay, can you play guitar on this song? Can you play drums on this song? Can you play bass on this song? Whatever. And because I mean, you don't know how it's gonna go, so you don't really sign an agreement. You're just saying, "Oh, I'll give you, I'll give you a split when, if, and when the song make any money." And then usually, if you don't have a record label, what you do, you just upload it on Spotify, which pays basically 0.00034 pence per play, which means that if you had 1 million plays, you would have possibly something around $3,000 to $5,000 at 1 million plays. Uh, it's just impossible to survive on that basis, because also what musicians do is in order to get more plays on those platforms, they spend money into whatever marketing campaign, social media campaign, and if you then put all the expenses they've had and the revenue they're getting from that specific track, you are in minus. You can never go break even. And even a big face. I mean, there was a documentary about 30 Seconds to Mars where basically this band were making millions, but the record company they was always in debt with the record company because the record company was spending more money than they would make from them. So it's always this kind of problems. The second problem is, as a single human or freelancer, you could never compete to a corporation with a various team of people working on that track with established channels, because the channel they use are trusted channels. So if a song comes out, they don't even question the quality of the song. They like, oh, Warner Brothers, they sent me this song, therefore I'm gonna play. They have a deal, internal deal. If you are uh, just a single musician, freelancer, or new artist, you don't have those channels. Therefore, you have to pay everything yourself to get very little, because obviously those corporations have millions of pounds budgets, and you have no budget whatsoever. So what we're trying to do is using the power of community. Therefore, if you'd have a million people on the platform helping each other, I'm sure that you would have definitely something to at least fight or in equal kind of equally with this company.
What do you mean regarding this second point? I don't think I understood properly. Meaning that, can you elaborate it a little bit more?
Yes, I mean, think about it. You are Warner Records. You
Yeah,
have all these artists, massive artists,
yeah.
and smaller ones. So what you do is you sell. You're kind of almost giving away. Like, do you want? I just make up a name. Do you want Madonna if you want me to give you Madonna, then you have to take these 3 new artists that we are promoting.
Okay.
And it just works because obviously they have the roster, they have the artists to be able to push the new ones at no expense by almost giving and blackmailing, kind of thing. Like, you want this big artist, then take these 3 with them. And I mean, you can't do it as a new artist. You have to, well, I mean, you have to build reputation and have something that they want to negotiate, something like that.
Okay.
In the other way around, the musician have to. I mean, if you think about the money that a corporation puts into promoting an artist, unless you reach, it's just not happening. Because if you're talking about 20, 30,000 pounds a month just on marketing, how are you going to achieve that?
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. So how does Web 3.0 break down these barriers and solve for these issues? Meaning that when Spotify set up, or when they set up their business models, they made it so that it's a successful business model. So how is Web 3.0 for who is it going to be beneficial, and how is it going to solve these problems?
I mean, I guess there are many ways, but as a, let's say, Web3 should mean user owned. Therefore, if everybody on Spotify was owning part of Spotify, then they would earn much more. Obviously, they
Now
have it.
that's a completely revolutionary idea. Sorry if I interrupt you there, but you said something very strong. If everybody on Spotify, instead of just listening to music, they were also owners either of their own work or partial owners of other people's work as well. Is that what you meant?
Yes, but this is exactly what Web3 does. You create something which is user owned, and now people are okay. So how do you make money? Well, the money is made because we're using cryptocurrency. So therefore, you are able to create an economy where extract the money before going into the system. Until what we do when in the minting phase, which means when we create the cryptocurrency, and we take a cut from the minting, but we take nothing from the artist. Actually, we take 10%, and the remaining 90%, we put it back into the community to finance project. For example, someone can propose, I want to do a festival, I want to do a movie, I want to do an album. The people within the community vote which one is the best, and we take the money from the 90% minted to finance those creations. Now, that is basically saying we give, we leave, we let artists keeping 100% from the sales, and we also finance them through the minting, because the tokenomy allow us, the Web3 technology allow us to take money from an earlier stage, and therefore it's I think is revolutionary in every way, to be honest.
So how did you guys structure your how did you guys because this is a big, it's a big what you're talking about is a big change, meaning to bring about something so revolutionary is complicated and it's not easy. So what is it that you guys are doing? How are you guys approaching this? How are you bringing on creators? How are you teaching them about cryptocurrency? How are you what are the steps that you are preparing? And just by the way, if anybody wants to check you guys out, this is the current link, right? Is this correct?
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
is where people can currently join the ANTHILL community, meaning what is it that people can do right now with your platform or with the services that you provide?
Okay, so obviously we have a vision which is at least 10, 15 years from now. And you cannot apply a vision to a system where everybody's used to doing things in a certain way. So we have a roadmap to achieve the vision that we have. And obviously, most creators are not familiar with blockchain, or they don't trust blockchain, or they don't want to have anything to do with blockchain. So the first step we are applying is education, educate people what it is, what it actually is. understand that blockchain is not just crypto, but is a technology, and what this technology does and why we're choosing this technology. How we are approaching it with the reward system. So we are, let's say, trying to get people know more about blockchain by rewarding them. So you have a 20-step reward system where, how do I open a wallet? Okay, you follow the steps, and every step you complete, you earn some tokens, and these are reward tokens. And in this way, in a way, we are slowly making understand what are the tools that we are offering, why we are offering them, but also at the end of this reward system, what we do also is like, well, okay, now you know about this. If you teach someone else what you've just learned, we're giving you an additional reward. So we're trying to do to use the community to help each other and to teach each other the basics of blockchain.
Yeah,
Uh,
that
we will not start from day one, obviously, with the whole system, just because it's not. Uh, I mean, that would be a dream. It takes time to make a change. So we are starting. This is our step one: education.
This method, I think, is very successful. It reminds me of also what Coinbase is using, Binance, to educate on different coins that they list on their platform. So they offer. I'm sure that if you go to Coinbase right now and open an account, there is probably going to be around 30 euros worth of cryptocurrency that is available for free if you just take different education programs. So what you guys are doing also in this regard, I think it's fantastic. Providing incentives for users, for creators to learn more about the technology that they're going to be using, at the same time get rewarded with the tokens, so they can already use these tokens on the platform. So how would tokens be used then on this platform, and what benefits do they? Why not just use a credit card? Why use tokens?
Uh, First of all, I need to clarify that our token is what we would call semi-stable. It's not like Bitcoin or Ethereum that the price fluctuates. The reason why we're doing this is because on our platform we allow people not only to mint and sell NFTs, but also to sell and upload products and services. So if you make shoes, or if you offer a service as a sound engineer or a photographer, you don't want your service to cost $100 today, 50 tomorrow, 250 the next day. And the only way to make a stable marketplace is to have a semi-stable token. The reason why we don't use money is because, first of all, as I said, it's semi-stable, which means we can, through our algorithm, which is use Uniswap version 3, we can set a target price that grows 10% a year to fight inflation. Obviously, in today's market, it should be more than 10%, but let's say the average used to be 7% a year. So we are doing something that grows 10% a year, which fights inflation. The second point is, like, obviously, we need to have our own currency to be able to send the money to the treasury to then finance projects. So as I said before, the 90% of the minted token not sold will go to the treasury of the company. If we use fiat, we wouldn't have control over that. And in that case, then we would have to take money from, or cut from, services and whatever artists are doing. And the third thing is, crypto is transparent. Therefore, everything we're doing, everybody can see. So there is no taking advantage, there is no scams, there is no games. Everything we do is on the chain, is transparent. You can check the transaction history. And this is a massive innovation, because you always know where the money goes, where it comes from, and why people get paid this much or that much.
Question regarding this: what blockchain did you guys select, and why. There is a gazillion different cryptocurrencies and different blockchains. So I think it's important to users understand also why specific blockchains are made for specific use cases better than others, for example.
So, as everybody knows, in the blockchain, cryptos or new coin keep popping up. But what we decided to go for, at least for now, is Polygon. The reason why is because it's got one of the biggest market cap, but also because they've got the most how do you say, evolved toolkit for builders. So there is a lot of open source tools that we can use without spending a fortune building them ourselves. Another protocol we're using is Lens protocol, which guarantees that the user owns whatever they do rather than the company. We own the content. So that's another step. We are now exploring Chelo, which is a stable system, a stable coin, and we are thinking of building with them the DeFi engine. But they also multi-chain, so that would allow for us to build a very secure, stable coin as an engine, but also do do the marketplace with Polygon and the governance with Polygon and everything else with Polygon. I mean, there is no straight answer. Those are the chains that we have selected right now. That doesn't mean that in the future we won't change them. The common thing is they both work on Ethereum network, so we can swap between the two without having to change the backend and the code. So this is why also we are using these two chains.
Sounds quite complicated, meaning that you are putting different technologies together and leveraging different technologies then to create the architecture for the token. I want to ask you, as we wrap this up, I want to ask you what is next for ANTHILL, and when is the platform going to be live and available, and when can creators start using and creating on your platform and actually creating NFT contracts and using the token and so forth? So what's next?
We have launched an MVP about a year ago, and it was very successful. We grew from 10 to 150 people within 6 months from 16 different countries. But we decided to close it to now work on the version 1 of the app. What we're doing now is, let me put this in perspective. You have a beautiful app with no creators. That's a failure already. So we are now scouting for the best talent and to sign them up in the waiting list. So we are building our network, we are building our community through, let's say, standard channels, which is Instagram, Twitter, social media as Facebook, and also using Discord. And obviously we keep updated with the newsletter. So that's the first phase for us. We are now actually recruiting and looking for creators. Then the second step will be to start putting them into content and create online events and in real life events. And then the last step will be signing up to the app, which will be ready. We are planning to open it in May 2023.
That is amazing. So you heard Gigi. If you are a creator, sign up on the ANTHILL community website, leave your email, and they will contact you if you are interested on becoming either a creator or a just a consumer of the technology. Thank you so much, Gigi. This was really interesting. A whole new view of the creator economy that is in store for us in the Web 3.0 space. Exciting times, especially because I am a creator myself as well, not a musician, but a creator, content creator, and I'm also sick of fees. And I would also love a great way of finding people that I could collaborate with and creating in a simple way agreements together for our collaboration. So I want to thank you, especially for your time, but also especially because you are working on such a noble mission and such a great mission for bringing this to everybody. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Indeed.
Awesome. Have a great day, everybody, and I will see you in the next show. Thank you and bye.
Bye.